Many of us begin our careers with a single source of income. When I got out of dental school, I never thought about adding other streams of income as most dentists make good money, right? But little did I know at that point just how risky this could be, only relying on one income stream. Now, if you want to grow your wealth, it's imperative to diversify your income streams. There's a saying that goes, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, guess what? You'll work until you die. And in this video, we're going to discuss the 10 types of income streams that you should consider as you build wealth. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Jeff Anzalone, a periodontist on a mission to get you out of the rat race. Do me a favor, download our free passive income guide. Link is below this video. Let's get going. All right. The most common income stream that you're probably most familiar with is this one, active income. This is the income that you earn from your primary job, whether you're a doctor, a dentist, a CPA, plumber, electrician, teacher, whatever. And it involves this. You trade your time for dollars. If you show up to work, you get paid. If you don't, then you don't get paid. Simple as that. This is how our education system teaches us. Put us through school, educate us on whatever they feel is necessary, put us in debt, and then make us get a job that we work at to pay off that debt that takes up most of our time, our entire lives. Sounds like fun, right? While reliable, relying solely on your primary earned income throughout your career, of course it has its risk. Let's say if your company downsizes or gets bought out. You could lose your job and your main source of income, right? Or if you're like me, somebody that relies on their hands as a dentist to make money and provide for my family, and you injure yourself, again, like I did years ago when I was snow skiing, guess what happens to that active income? It vanishes. Additionally, earned income is heavily taxed, including income tax, payroll tax, which can have a significant portion of your earnings. The bottom line is this. While it's fine to start your career relying on primary earned income or active income, it's important not to rely on it exclusively. The goal should be to use your primary income to generate other income streams and expand your financial opportunities, okay? Number two, this stream is actually getting very popular in the healthcare sector. It is side hustle income. Side hustle income. Now, this is one of the reasons why I started my blog, debtfreedoctor.com, and this YouTube channel. This side hustle income comes from engaging in freelance or contract work outside of your primary job. So for instance, if you're a doctor working for a hospital or a clinic, you could offer your skills to companies that won't maybe research for their products. They'll actually pay doctors for taking surveys because they want to get their opinions about them. However, it's important to not let your side hustle become as time consuming as your main job. So basically, it should be a way to explore additional income streams without overwhelming yourself. Starting a side hustle can be as simple as having a computer and internet connection. That's all I needed to initially start my blog, which debtfreedoctor.com, which actually teaches other people about the power of passive income to obtain freedom. Side hustles are an excellent way to get a taste of getting the start of generating multiple income streams, okay? But what happens if your side hustle starts growing rapidly, attracting more clients and then becoming more demanding? Now, this growth can actually lead us to consider the next type of income stream, which is business income. While your side hustle might initially seem just like some extra cash on the side, again, it could evolve into something more substantial. If you find that it does have the potential, you might decide to invest more time and energy into it, thus expanding your client list and developing new products and services. Treating it as a proper business can actually transition it from just a side gig to a significant source of income. Most high-income W-2 employees, they complain about their income being capped and, of course, their tax situation. So, for instance, if you're a doctor working for a hospital, you don't get many tax deductions. And depending on the hours or shifts that you work, your income is actually capped. But running your own business offers several advantages over being that hospital employee. Owning a business means the potential for earnings is virtually unlimited. There is no cap. And depending on the success of your product or service or whatever that you're offering, it could get really high. Additionally, there are tons of tax benefits to running a business. You can deduct many expenses such as cost for computers, office supplies, and even a home office, thus reducing your overall tax burden. However, if the thought of running a business doesn't really appeal to you, there are several other ways to diversify your income streams, which leads us to number 4. The fourth stream is interest income. Now, this type of income is earned by lending money. So for example, if you have a bank account, you're likely familiar with earning interest from, let's say, a savings account or a CD, a certificate of deposit. Although the amount, of course, is not that much at this time, it does represent a passive way to generate some income from your cash reserve. If you have a considerable amount of money, it's wise to keep it into an account that actually yields higher interest. You've got some high yield savings accounts right now, or some of the CDs right now are paying anywhere from 4 or 5%. It's important to keep a significant amount of liquid cash for any of your immediate needs. But if you don't really need access to this money for a few years, earning interest on it is a pretty good choice. However, it's important to understand that while interest income can help maintain your cash's purchasing power against inflation, it's not likely to build substantial wealth on its own. So if you're looking to really increase your wealth, you're going to need to explore other more lucrative streams. Number 5, dividend income. Unlike interest income, which is earned by lending money, dividend income is generated from owning a share of a company. So for instance, let's say that you own Tesla stock. You have a small ownership stake in Tesla. When Tesla earns a profit, they may choose to pay a portion of this profit back to their shareholders in the form of these dividends. While it can be tempting to use the dividend income as extra spending money, a more strategic approach is actually to reinvest these dividends. Now, this can be done automatically so that when dividends are actually paid out, they're immediately used to purchase more shares of the stock or the fund that you're in. This strategy enhances your investment portfolio through something called the power of compounding, where the reinvested dividends, they buy more shares, which then generate their own dividends, leading to potentially greater long-term growth and wealth accumulation. By regularly reinvesting your dividends, you're not just saving money, you're actively growing your investment and leveraging compounding to increase your wealth over time. Moving on to number 6, capital gains. Now, this, I think, is one of the real secret sauces to wealth building that not really many people think about or discuss, but I really think it is, and hear me out. So capital gains are the profits that you actually earn from selling capital assets, such as your home, your stocks in your portfolio, or even items that you've purchased at a discount and sold at a higher price. So for instance, if you buy a home for, let's say, $200,000 and you sell it for $300,000, you have a capital gain of $100,000. 300,000 minus 200,000 is $100,000. Similarly, buying a stock, let's say at $100, and you sell it at $300, it results in a $200 capital gain. However, capital gains are subject to specific tax rules that you need to be aware of. Let's talk about the holding period. So the tax rate on capital gains depends on how long that you've held that particular asset. So let's break them up. So you have long-term capital gains and you have short-term capital gains. Gains that from assets that you've held for over 1 year, these are considered long-term capital gains. And they're actually taxed at a lower rate compared to the short-term capital gains. These are actually taxed at your ordinary tax rate. And these are for assets held, you got it, less than a year. So let's talk about real estate. So if you've lived in your property for at least, and this is called the home sale exemption. If you lived in your property for at least 2 of the 5 years before selling it, you can actually exclude up to $250,000 of the gain on your income if you're single, and $500,000 of the gain when you've sold that property if you're married. Now, you also have something called realized versus unrealized gains. So capital gains are only realized and taxable when you actually sell that asset. If the value of your investment increases, but you don't sell it, these are called unrealized gains, and you're not taxed until you decide to sell it. So if you have your house and you're still living in it and you don't sell it, well, this is unrealized until you get to the point where you want to sell it. So to truly build wealth, it's really critical to generate capital gains. This requires owning assets, and I've talked about this several times in multiple other videos, owning assets that appreciate in value over time. What do most people do? They own assets that go down over time. That's what they spend their whole life thinking about. Buying the cars, they go down over time. Buying the boats, the value, they go down over time. buying whatever. So focus on owning assets that go up over time. My preferred method is to capitalize on your assets by renting them out to generate income, which is a perfect segue to our number 7 stream of income. That is rental income. Now, eventually, this involves owning an asset, such as just a single family home, and you rent it out to a tenant who pays you monthly rent. Now, we own several RV parks and mobile home parks, which actually allows us to scale so that multiple tenants, not just one, but multiple tenants are paying us at the same time. While owning real estate sounds straightforward, the actual execution can vary significantly depending on your situation. Now, there are numerous ways to generate rental income. Now, when I first started this, I thought I had to go and get a single family home, something like that, and rent it out. I didn't even know about all these other different things that we teach on this channel. But again, one of the most simple ways is just you go get a single family home, you rent it out. You can buy an apartment complex. You can buy a duplex, fourplex, and rent it out. You can own commercial properties. You can convert an existing home into a rental property. You can buy and renovate rundown properties. Investing in commercial real estate with actually other investors, which is what I do via real estate syndications. Now, I have several videos that explain what exactly a real estate syndication is on this channel. Financing options also vary. You might purchase a property outright with cash, or you could put a small deposit down, renovate the property, and then refinance it out to actually cash out. The key is to find a method that actually fits your financial goals and your capabilities. Okay? If done correctly, generating rental income can really diversify your income streams and contribute to your financial growth. Number 8, royalty income. This is a great one to add into your financial toolkit, and it's a unique way to earn income, of course, and it may not apply to everybody, but it can be highly rewarding to those who actually utilize it. So this type of income is similar to rental income, but instead of leasing a physical asset like real estate, you're essentially renting out intellectual property such as songs, photos, graphic designs, books, those types of things. So for instance, a musician who writes a song receives a royalty payment each time that song is actually played on the radio. An author earns royalties from each sale of their published book, which is actually what I do when I wrote a book several years ago, which is now on Amazon. So each time somebody buys that book, I get a tiny sliver of profit. But I only had to create the product once, and now I'm getting paid continuously. The amount of royalty income can vary widely depending on the popularity and demand of the asset that you've created. And one of the great benefits of this type of income is that, again, after that initial effort of creating the asset, your work is mostly done. The asset can continue to grow and generate income for you over the years, which is a small or significant amount. Let me tell you something that has recently come to light with royalty income with an actual video on this channel. And I'll put the link below this video. This was a video now at this point that I published roughly 2.5 years ago. It was comparing the difference between Dave Ramsey and Robert Kiyosaki. And I looked at both of them because I've taken both things in that they teach and I've applied them to my life. Okay, I started off more of a Dave Ramsey guy, getting rid of that student loan debt, paying off that first house. But now as I've become more entrepreneurial, want to develop multiple income streams, I've taken some things from Robert Kiyosaki. But anyway, after 1 year, that video only had about 870 views roughly. After the second year, it started to take off and it had about 6,800 views, something like that. And then just two and a half years total. So from year 2 to just a half a year, it's gotten 30,000 views. And guess what? Because this channel, it's monetized. If you get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 4,000 watch hours, it'll start running ads on your channel, which is just multiple income streams coming in. So literally, you create the product once. I created that video once, and now it's recurring revenue. Not a lot, but it's recurring revenue. And that's the power of YouTube. And that's why if you are ever considering starting a YouTube channel, do it. Trust me. You never know where it's going to take you. All right. Moving on to number 9, government payments. Now, while some may not consider government payments a traditional income stream, it's important to think about them in terms of the financial benefits they can provide. The government redistributes a portion of tax revenue into various programs that can effectively reduce your expenses. Examples include Social Security, Medicare, and subsidies like those provided under the Affordable Care Act, which is called Obamacare. During specific situations such as the COVID-19 crisis, the government also issued direct stimulus checks to help people manage economic hardship. More commonly, the benefits are indirect, but they're still significant, like free public education, which my kids have enjoyed, myself included, public safety services, and tax credits for energy efficiency. For instance, if you had to pay for these services out of pocket, costs would add up quickly. Public schools spend an average of $16,000 per student each year, and private security services can cost between $30 to $50 an hour. By utilizing government programs effectively, such as free public schooling for your children or tax credits that reduce your yearly expenses, you're essentially saving money that would otherwise be spent. And last but not least, and something that you probably not going to think that I'm going to talk about is this, and this is one of my favorite ones at this point in my life: travel points. That's right, travel points. Again, this is not a traditional one. Some might argue that travel points don't constitute an income stream. Well, and technically they're right. However, understanding how to effectively earn and use travel points can save a ton of money and provide additional benefits, as I've recently learned. Okay? Travel points are typically earned through credit card spending. By being strategic about which credit cards you use for your regular expenses, you can actually accumulate miles and points that actually act as a form of income. For years, we used credit card for both our personal use and for my dental practice. Now, I recently connected with a guy that actually specializes in maximizing your current spending with credit card points. Since I started using his advice, we've yet to pay for any travel costs. Now, what's really cool about this is that I didn't have to change any of our spending habits. It only consisted in just basically matching up the proper credit cards that were out there with the categories that we were spending the most on. Using these travel points is essentially like earning money because it actually saves you money that you're going to otherwise have spent on these travel expenses. Additionally, owning travel credit cards often comes with extra benefits like early boarding, hotel status upgrades, and lounge access, which enhances the travel experience without any additional cost. Now, while these cards typically have annual fees, the benefits can far outweigh the cost if you use them wisely. So, while travel points might not directly increase your cash flow, they do reduce your expenditures and add value to your financial strategy. This makes them worth considering as part of your broader approach to managing and maximizing your financial resources. Now, if you want to learn more about how to best maximize these travel points, take a look at this video over here where I actually interviewed one of the world's leading experts. Check it out.